One of the best midfielders in Serie A currently? Surely. One of the best in the world? Yeah, might be. And the best Turkish to play in Italy? Without a shadow of a doubt. This is Hakan Calhanoglu.
Appoggia Calhanoglu che si prepara al destro, il tiro, e gol, 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 il Sultano!
Right now, Calhanoglu is having arguably the strongest start of the season in his career. 10 goal contributions in less than 3 months since the start of the season is something special when we talk about a deep-lying midfielder, box-to-box one. And when you consider the turbulent transfer window, during which Calhanoglu was close to leaving Inter to join Galatasaray, it just goes to show how strong his mentality is. And don't get me wrong, it's not just the stats. Game after game, the Turk is holding the midfield together, doing a lot of dirty work in the middle of the park. But the one area of the game in which he excels are his on-the-ball skills, the passing range, the vision, basically the way he sharpens the attack with just a single touch on the ball. In this regard, I'll deeply regret if I don't mention it, but on his best days, he's coming close to one of the best long passers in the last decade. And here I mean players at the level of Toni Kroos, Xabi Alonso, and why not even Xavi Hernandez. Long balls are a pleasure to watch and a valuable luxury in an era when dribbling and one-on-one ability are held in high regard. In this regard, there's hardly anyone who could be put in the same sentence as Calhanoglu right now. Pedri could probably be named, together with Joshua Kimmich and Fede Valverde. Throughout his career, Hakan Calhanoglu has been overlooked and not talked about as much as he deserves, which is a shame, or at least this is what I've observed within the football community. Nevertheless, we can safely say that Hakan himself is not lacking in self-confidence, as we all remember what he said last year. I'm the best deep-lying midfielder right now. After me, it's Rodri, then Toni Kroos, Kimmich and Enzo Fernandez. Yes, this is a statement that definitely generates controversy. Yes, some can say that this is equivalent to celebrating a goal by putting a crown on your head, yourself. Yes, I'm talking to you, Lamine Yamal and Amadou Onana. But when you're playing this good and pulling off long passes like this, and this, you kind of earn the right to talk like that. And yes, you can definitely find someone who would argue that he is a top midfielder. But here's another perspective for you to consider. Can you find someone who would argue that Calhanoglu is not an elite long-range shooter? He's arguably one of the top 3 in the game in that aspect. For those thinking, well, what about Fede Valverde and Dominik Szoboszlai? Yes, they're the obvious 2 other contenders for the crown. But let me tell you something. Quite surprisingly, Fede Valverde hasn't scored a single goal this season, let alone a long-distance one. Szoboszlai, on the other hand, has scored 2 goals, both of which were outside the box. One from a free kick against Arsenal in that crucial 1-0 win at Anfield, and the other was the 5th in the 5-1 against Eintracht Frankfurt in a match when everything was sealed and delivered long before his strike. And what about Calhanoglu? He's scored 6 goals this season, 3 times as much as Szoboszlai, with 3 of them coming from long range. The 2 magisterial strikes that didn't help Inter to even grab a point at Allianz Stadium against Juventus in September, and the 2nd goal in a 3-0 win against Fiorentina. Especially the 2nd one against Juventus deserves its fair share of attention. The way he picked up the ball on his chest and volleyed it straight at the far corner, leaving no chance for Di Gregorio. And now, before we go straight to probably the most surprising fact for Hakan Calhanoglu in 2025-26, is a quick invitation for you to subscribe to our channel. An absolutely mesmerising 98% of you watch our videos daily without subscribing. I'm sure you've never seen anything like this before, so here's your chance to watch us again next week. It only takes 1 second, so why not? So, Calhanoglu is not just the highest goal scorer in Serie A since the start of the season. Yeah, this also one deserves its applauses, but I have something more than that for you. The Turkish international is the highest scoring midfielder in the top 5 European leagues this season. The only player who comes close is Leipzig's Christoph Baumgartner, who also has 5 Bundesliga goals to his name. That's why Calhanoglu's 2025-26 season is one that definitely doesn't get talked about enough. The fact that he's arguably having the best season of his career after Inter's early exit from the Club World Cup makes his achievements even more impressive. As you may know, the club's captain, Lautaro Martinez, unequivocally, but without naming Calhanoglu, said the following: "Whoever wants to stay, stay. Whoever doesn't want to stay must go. I won't name names, but I saw many things that I didn't like." But that wasn't all. The club's president, Pepe Marotta, came out and agreed with Lautaro. I interpret his words positively. As a captain, he highlighted some suppositions and some truths. One thing I always say, if a player wants to leave, it's right that he goes. There is no one who has concretely expressed this intention, but he was perhaps referring to Calhanoglu. So basically Marotta kind of opened the door for Calhanoglu to leave. Well, just a couple of hours later, Calhanoglu publicly denied such rumours, writing the following post on social media. He highlighted that he suffered an injury during the Champions League final, flew to the USA for the Club World Cup, and there sustained another injury on a completely different area. What surprised me even more were the words that came after, words that hit hard, words that divide, not unite. Of course, this brawl between Lautaro and Hakan brought a lot of criticism to the Turkish, but you know what? That's nothing new for him. Last year, after yet another strong wave of criticism towards him, he didn't think twice before reminding everyone that he's the first Turkish in 21 years to be nominated among the top 30 for the Ballon d'Or. And there you have the plot twist. He didn't know his final position at the time of this interview. Later on, he qualified 20th for the Ballon d'Or, which is one of the best finishes by any footballer in Turkish football folklore. And talking about the impact for his country, he recently entered the Club 100, making his 100th appearance for Turkey in a European qualification against Bulgaria. Moreover, with the 2 appearances he would likely make in the return matches against Bulgaria and Spain in November, Calhanoglu will enter the top 3, surpassing the Galatasaray legend Bülent Korkmaz. Now, let's talk about why he's the new king of Inter Milan. You know, there are those types of players who are incredibly consistent. They're not flashy, not errorless either, but ones that keep the level flat, without sharp drops or rises. This is Hakan Calhanoglu, and by saying flat, that doesn't mean he's not improving. The contrary, actually. Calhanoglu is slowly getting better, and the experience is obviously helping him a lot. And when the legends talk so highly about you, you just understand how special you might be. For example, AC Milan icon Arrigo Sacchi said a couple of years ago that Calhanoglu is a complete player, following the footsteps of Andrea Pirlo. Yeah, I was wondering what was the name that I missed when talking about legendary long passes at the beginning of the video. Well, Pirlo was the name. Did Milan commit a mistake by letting him leave? In hindsight, one would say yes. At Milan, Calhanoglu had already demonstrated that he was good. However, he was an attacking midfielder. Now he's pulling the strings in the middle of the park. Analyse one of the most legendary Serie A managers of all time. And he definitely has a point here. While he was extremely impressive as an attacking midfielder, finding those pockets of space close to the penalty box during his time at AC Milan and Inter Milan, he's now a much more mature and intelligent footballer. He doesn't just play to score goals like he did 4 or 5 years ago. And you know what's crazy? His best scoring season with the Rossoneri was 2019-20, when he scored 11 goals as an attacking midfielder. Then, when he transitioned to the City rivals, he arrived at the Giuseppe Meazza with the reputation of an attacking midfielder. At the start of the 2022-23 campaign, a little over a year after his rival, Inter starting defensive midfielder Marcelo Brozovic suffered a severe injury, pushing Simone Inzaghi to find a solution. And well, that solution was Calhanoglu. He started deploying him as a deep-lying playmaker, a role that suited Hakan brilliantly. Even further away from goal, his goal contributions didn't drop. In fact, the stats improved. Since then, he's had 2 seasons in which he scored as many or more goals than he did in 2019-20 with Milan, and 2025-26 will be another opportunity for him to better that feat. And being the best scorer and the man with the highest rating in the whole league, I can definitely say that Calhanoglu is in the form of his life, but is still one of the most underrated ballers out there. And as we talk about underrated Serie A figures, why don't you check out Luciano Spalletti and the 5 things he will change at Juve in the long run. It's just a click away from you, so jump straight in.